Hello everyone, welcome back. I hope you're having a great day. In this episode, we will cover something that have long been requested. Sounds. We will add a few songs and some sound effects. And since we already have the controls from a few episodes back, we can really turn up this episode. Get it? Cause, sound have volume and we can change it. Anyway, the music we're going to use in this episode was made by a YouTuber called SVL. And with permission, I can use his music in this tutorial, which is really kind of him, so big thanks. A few of the sound effects is also from him, and the rest is from my old game, The Last Viking. We won't have a large collection of sounds in our game, just enough so we get an idea on how sounds work in a game. And as a reminder, all of the code and assets can be found on my website or on GitHub. If you have questions about this tutorial, or maybe you get stuck somewhere, check out the Discord link. And if you want to go the extra mile to show your support, there is a link below where you can buy me a coffee. Even though I don't drink coffee, I'm a tea guy. The last episode was all about our options menu. The options button have been in our game for quite some time but never used. But to get the options menu to work as we need it to be, we first had to make the new class called AudioOptions. This class is a UI class and will not only be visible in our options state, but also in our pause overlay. So we took the sound controls from our pause overlay to this new class, and once we got everything moved and also in working order for our inputs, we could then create our new state class called the options class. It's a simple class, we won't have many options, but we will be able to access our sound controls in this state as well. So this is the reason why we made our audio options class. Now we can just import it and the same controls will be changed here as in our pause overlay. And once the mouse inputs were added, we had our options menu. I did not forget to add options menu in this tutorial, thank God. First up, we are going to create a new package called audio. And in this package, we're gonna have a new class as well. And let's call it AudioPlayer, so our AudioPlayer. And we're gonna finish that. And before we start coding in this class, let's go to our game class. And right underneath our audio options, we add this new class. So AudioPlayer. And then of course, import it. And that is just to get it out of the way, so we don't have to come back here again. And we need a getter for it as well. So public AudioPlayer get AudioPlayer. So we're gonna use this class to access the AudioPlayer, our game class. So return AudioPlayer. All right. And in this AudioPlayer, we need a constructor. So public AudioPlayer. Before we get really going in here, let's just get all our resources into our game. So in our res folder, we're gonna right click, new folder, and we're gonna call it audio. And this audio folder will have a couple different sounds, and I'm just gonna drag them and drop them in here. It's in total of, I think it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different sounds. And all of them can be found on my website or on GitHub. So just gonna minimize that folder. And in this class, we're gonna create the constant values for our sound files. And I already have them here, so I'm just gonna copy paste because it's a lot of things we already done. And it's gonna be a public static. So whenever we call this audio player, we don't need to access a getter. We can just say play song audioplayer.menu1. So we have 3 different songs and 7 different effects. And there will be 2 different arrays that will hold these songs. These are just the constant values that represent the position in the array where this song will be found. So let's go ahead and actually create these arrays, and we're gonna create something we haven't used before, but it's a private clip array, songs and effects. And I'm gonna talk about what the clip is soon, but let's finish up our values up here. So after our clip arrays, we're gonna have a private int current ID or current song ID, just to know what kind of song we have, etc. in the clip. Then we need a private float for volume. We're gonna put it 0.05. And then we need a private boolean song mute and effect mute if you want to mute them. And last we need a private random r equals new random. And this random, let's just call it rand instead. And this random will be used later for when we have attack sounds. As you can see, we have 3 different types of attack, and that is just to keep the attack sound a little bit different each time. Otherwise, it's going to get very repetitive and just annoying to listen to. So having a few different attack sounds and picking out a random one when you do attack is preferred, in my opinion. So yeah, that's all the global variables we're going to have. So let's talk about clip. The clip can be considered to be a music player. You take a song, in our case the audio input stream, which we're gonna get to later, and you open it in this clip. And now we can play this audio whenever we want, and we can also change it a bit. We can stop it, we can play it, we can change the volume, we can mute it, and we can jump, etc. But this is of course a simple explanation of the clip and not exactly how they work, just know this. But since this is a tutorial for beginners and I promised not to use external libraries in our game, clip we must use, because it comes with the Java language by default. There are limitations to using clip. We can only use, for example, .wav files, wav, however you pronounce it. There could be some delay from the moment we want to use it to the moment the sound is actually played. That is not ideal. But we are just going to tip our toes in the topic of sounds in a game. If you were to add sounds in your own game or even this tutorial, you could face some errors. I recommend that you then look up an external library and use one of those. Find one that fits your needs the best. Our way of doing sound is just one of many and not the best either. Let's go ahead and create 3 important methods that we're gonna use. We need a private void load songs. We need, I need some space here. Give me a second. There we go. We need one private void load effects. And we need one called private clip getClip. And this is simply the method that we're gonna use when we are loading a song or an effect. And this clip needs a string name. So the name of the file, and then we return the clip for that file in our res folder or res audio folder in here. Let's begin in our getClip method because we're gonna use it in load effects and load songs. So in here, we are going to get a URL to access those audio files, and it will be a URL equals get class dot get resource get or name. This name, first off, we need to do something very similar to how we did our load save. Let's go over here. We need to do something very similar here. So we do /levels to get levels. So we need to do /audio. And now we're inside audio folder. And then plus name plus .wav for the file. So we don't need to specify the wav in the name. We just say menu1 and it's gonna find that file for us. Make sure you import the correct one here, not javax.print.flavor. It should be url java.net. And we need some way of storing this audio or the songs or the effect, whatever, in some sort of variable or object. And it's going to be an audio input stream, and we can call it audio. And we're going to just keep it like so. Then we're going to have a try and catch here. So we will get a few errors, but let's code it first, and then we actually add the try and catch method. So first, audio is equal to audio system dot get audio input stream. We're gonna use, doesn't really matter as long as you put in the URL. And there is a bit similarities how we get our audio to how we get our image. Here we use image.io.read, the input stream. Here we use audio system, blah blah blah, and we get our audio as an audio input stream. And then we can probably close this. I just wanted to show there was some similarities between those two. And then we need to create a clip that can store this audio inside. So we're creating the media player for this audio. But we can't really just say clip c equals new clip. That's not how you make the clip. First of all, the clip is a interface. If we look here, it's an interface and not actually something we can just create like that. But we get the clip by saying equals audio system dot get clip. So the audio system creates a clip for us, and maybe we should say C. So we get our clip from the audio system, and this audio system also makes sure that the clip is able to be used the way we want to. So after that, we say clip, or rather C, dot open, and we pass in the audio. So now we're opening the clip and putting the audio in simple terms. And then we return C. And now we have a lot of errors, but to make sure that we don't get a lot of different try catches, we can have one try catch. Let's get the first one with multi-catch. So we have a try and catch here with different types of errors it can return. But we still have errors here, so we're going to take this and paste it in here underneath audio. But we still have the error. So if we hover, we see we don't handle the error in case the line unavailable exception happens. And if we hover here, it's the same type of error. So we can just add exception to the existing catch clause. So now we have 3 different errors that are taken care of if they happen in the same try and catch, instead of having 3 try and catch for each section. So this looks much cleaner. But we still have an error we haven't taken care of, which is no return statement in case this fails. So underneath here, return null. So we just return null. And now we can use this method to get all our effects and all our songs. So let's begin in our load songs, and we need a string to make this as simple as possible. String array with all the names of all the songs we're going to use. And we can say names equal, and then we add 2 brackets. And inside this bracket we have the menu. Let's actually copy this. We should have 3, right? 3, yeah, we have menu, level. And they were called menu, level 1 and level 2. So level 1, level 2. And then like so. And now we also need to create our clip array. So songs equals new clip. And it's this one. But the size will be names.length. So if we were to add more songs in here, the clip would also increase in size, so we don't get any array out of bounds errors. And now we just need a for int I equals 0, I is less than songs.length I plus plus, songs I equals GetClip, GetClip, and we pass in names dot, or not dot, but I. So the first one will be menu, which is correct. The second one will be level 1, correct, and level 2, correct as well. And we're gonna keep the same concept in our load effects. So I'm just gonna copy paste what I have already on the side of the screen, so we don't have to type that all out again. So we have a new string array, we create the effects array, depending on the size of that array. And then we have this array that takes care of our clips in that clip array, and the order should be correct. So we have die, jump, game over, level complete, attack 1, 2, and 3. And that looks to match. If they were a bit different, then they would be different in the array, and we would get maybe the jump effect when we want the attack. So just make sure that these matches the order of these, and you're good to go. And before we move on to the next part, let's just add the load songs and load effects in our constructor. So now we can move on to the next part. And that is going to be about updating our volume for our songs and updating our volume for our effects. So we need a private void update song volume. We need a private void update effects, or effects, because they're going to be all of them at the same time, volume. Here in the update song volume, we are only going to update the current song that is being played, but when we are updating the volume for our effects, we're going to update all of them at the same time. And you're going to see later why we do this. And in this update song volume, we're going to use something called float control, gain control, because it's the gain on the volume button, if you will, the volume knob that you turn when you change the volume. We're going to call it gain control. Is equal recast float control songs current song ID, the current song that we are playing. We're gonna get that clip, and we're gonna say get control type, or get control, and we want the control of float control dot the type dot master gain. And this might look a little bit confusing. We're casting over to a float control we never used before, and get control, what is this? So our clip that we're currently playing, we want a control. This is how we're going to get the controls for changing the volume, maybe we want to change the balance, etc. And all the controls, like float control, if we look at it, is a control, and there are different types of controls. We have Boolean control for mute, unmute. We have balance control, for example, if you want to change the balance. Maybe we just want to play the music in the left ear and not the right ear, etc. So we need some way of getting those controls, and we get that from doing it this way. So this clip we have give us the control, and we want the master gain control. There's a few different ones. Let's see. AUX return, send, balance, master, blah, 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 blah. And we could just say gain control dot set value and something. If you thought about this logically, then 0 would be muted or no volume, 1 float would be max, but it's not. They didn't make it easy for us. This is just one reason why working with sound can be difficult, so external libraries is the way to go if you want to get a very good sound system in your game. But the way we're going to get this is something like this. We are going to have a float range of the total distance, if you will, or the range that we can change the volume, because it doesn't start on 0 and it doesn't end on 1. So we're going to get the float range gain control dot get maximum minus gain control dot get minimum. So we have the max value minus the minimum value, and now we have a range. And then we're gonna say float gain, or rather, well, the change we want to set, or the value that we want to set. And that will be range times our volume that we have at the top, plus gain control dot get the minimum. So let's say this is 10, and range is 100, and volume is 0. So 0 times 100 plus 10 equals 10, and then we're going to set 10 to our gain control. So gain control dot set value gain. And it may be a little bit complicated to change the value, but this is how we're going to change our value from using our volume, which will be a float from 0 to 1. So if volume is 1, range is 100, then it's 100 times 1 plus 10, and we're going to set that as the gain, so 110. And that is just how we're going to change the volume. And for our update effects volume, I'm just going to copy paste what I already have on my other screen, because it's the same concept. But we get an error because we're going to change the volume on all of our effects when we are updating the volume. So we need a for clip C, and we're going to say effects. And we need some brackets. So now we go over each of our effects, and we are updating the volume for all of them. The reason why we change just the song that is currently playing the volume is because the other songs won't really matter, only the one in the background. So this is the background music that we're gonna hear. But when we update effect, we won't update just one effect, we want to update all effects because they are so short and we don't know when they're gonna come, and we really don't have a current effect being played because they are so short. But we do have a current song being played. So a jump, for example, can be half a second long, and so we change all effects at the same time. And you're gonna notice later why this is. And now we'll also allow the player to mute the effects or the song right away, and that will be done from elsewhere in the game. So we need to make them public void toggle song mute, and we need one for effect too. So public void toggle effect mute. And the way we're gonna toggle this mute for our songs is going to mute them all at once, because if we play one clip and we mute that, then we maybe go back to the menu, then the menu music starts playing, and that is not muted. So when we mute, we want to mute everything at the same time. So first we're going to say this.songMute equals flip song mute. And then we want to for clip C songs C, no, we need brackets here. And in this bracket, we're going to do something similar to this, but now we don't need a float control for changing the volume. Now we need a Boolean control. We can just say Boolean control is equal to, recast over, Boolean control C dot get control, not get class, get control, Boolean control dot type dot mute. So we have the mute, which will be either a false or a true. Then we say Boolean control dot set value song mute. Simple as that. So we go through all our clips, we get a control for each clip, and that control gets the value whatever song mute now is. And for our toggle effect, we're going to do the same concept here as we did above. So just copy paste what I have on my right screen, going through all our effects, muting each one by one. But when we do press the mute button for our effects, we don't know or can't hear if the mute took place, meaning when we're playing the background song, which will always be active, when we mute, it goes silent. When we unmute, we're gonna hear it again. So just to make sure that the player notice that there is a mute and unmute going on for our effects, we are going to play an effect that just, as soon as we unmute, the effect is going to be played so the player can, the effect is now on, and also be able to hear how loud that is. So if not effect, meaning if it's false, the mute is false, then we're gonna play effect. And we can take jump. And this method is gonna be one of the few methods that we add right now. So we will need two new methods, which will be public void play effect int effect, and then we need a public void play song int song, like so. And we can start in our play effect. That's the smallest method of these two. So in here we want to say effects bracket effect, because the value we're going to pass in is going to be one of these, and these values for each static int will be a index in the array. So if you want to play game over, that's the index 2 here, so it will be the second index, or index number 2. So we just pass that constant in this effect, and then we say start. Simple as that. But here's the problem. If we were to play this once and then we try to play it again, we might not hear anything. And that is because we played the entire song, and now the position where we are at the end. So if we press start again, we're not going to hear anything because it's already been played. So we need to go effects, effect, the index, dot set microsecond position, the one that says for long, and then we just start from the beginning. So we reset it, and then we play it. And that's all we need to do for our effect. So we reset it to 0, the beginning, and then we play it. And for our play song, since we might have a song already playing, we want to stop the previous song and switch to the new one. If we don't stop the current song being played and start playing another one, they're going to play over each other, and you're just going to be crazy in the ear. So first we say songs current song ID dot is active. I need an if here, my bad. If it's active, then songs current song ID dot stop. First, we're checking if it's a current song being played is active. Then we say stop. And after that, we say current song ID equals song. So the song index will become the song ID. Then we say update song volume. We want to make sure that the new song, because we just changed the song ID, applies the volume that we changed before we start playing this one. And after we've done that, updated the song volume, we say songs current song ID dot, we need to reset it, so set micro, just like we did for effects, and then songs current song ID dot start. So we're making sure if there is a song already being played, we stop that song, we change the ID to the new ID, update the volume, restart the new song, and then we start playing that song. But there's one thing here. When this song is complete, it's been played, it's going to be silent. But the background songs is going to be played, is going to be looping. So as soon as it stops, it's going to restart again. And we can do that by just changing the start to loop. And then we say clip dot loop continuously. So we can say how many times we want it to loop, or we can say just keep looping until the end of time. which we do here. So this way, when the song is being played and it's done playing, it's gonna restart and play from the start again. And with these two methods, we might as well add the public void play attack sound. And this is a call we're going to do whenever the player is attacking. And if you remember, we have 3 different types of attack, or 3 different sounds of the attack, and we have a random. So we're just gonna combine that by saying we start at the index being index 4, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're gonna start with this, and then we can say start plus equals rand.getNext, rand.nextInt, yeah. And we're just gonna pass in 3 here, so it's 0, 1, or 2. And then we just play effect start. So it's gonna be one of those 3 different types of sword attacks or attacks is gonna be played whenever the player actually attacks. And we will have a few more methods here. We will have a public void to set the volume. So we will use our audio options class. When we change the slider, we want to apply that volume to our music somehow, and that is going to be through this method, so float volume. And we will need a public void stop the song that is currently being played. We will need a public void set level song, and we will have an int level index, and I will get to this soon. And we need one for level completed. So whenever we complete a level, we want to do something specific just in that case. And I think that is all the methods that we're going to need in this class. We might need to add something, but for the most part, we are done. Let's go over here and let's start with the set volume. And we just want to do something simple. So this dot volume equals the volume. And whenever when we change the volume, we want to update song volume, update effect volume, like so. Done. The stop song, we want to be able to stop the current song and make it silent. And it's not for muting, it's for if you just want to stop playing the song. And that is going to be if, or rather we can copy, goes faster. We can take this play song. If the current song is active, then we say stop, and that's all we need to do. So we can actually, now when I think about it, take this method, change it to whatever here, stop song. So instead of having the same code in 2 places, we can just call this method, and now we stop the song. And this set level song, if you look here, we have 2 level songs. We have level 1 and level 2. And the idea I had was that whenever we switch the level, we play the other song. So every other level will have one song, and every other level will have another song. So let's see, where were we? Here, we can actually do so. First, we are going to need to check if level index modulus 2 is equal to 2, meaning it's divisible by 2 and there's nothing remaining. Then we play song level, what do we have? Level 1. Else we play song level 2. So if it's divisible by 2, we play the level 1. If it's not, we play the level 2. So that is how we're gonna have different songs for different levels, even though we only have 2 different songs. So first we want to say stop song, because we don't want any background music playing when we complete a level, and then play effect level completed. And before we move away from this class for a bit, let's go to our load effects. Right here, as soon as we have loaded them, we want to apply the volume that we start with, which is 0.5 float, we just want to update our effects volume after we've done loading all our effects. Because if the volume gets saved to a file, we want to restart the game with that volume so that the effects don't have the full volume blasted as soon as you start the game. And the same will apply for our songs, but we set our volume for our songs whenever we play the songs. First we stop the song that's currently being played, change the ID, we update the volume. So whenever we have done with everything in here, the game is starting for the first time, we say play, song, menu. So this menu 1 will be the song we hear every time we start the game. And I think it's time to test it, but first let's put volume at full blast, just to make sure that if there's some music in our game, then we hear it, so it's not being very, very low. And also one thing I almost forgot, in our game class, where we have our audio player and our getter at the bottom, I completely forgot to add the actual instantiation of this. So in our init classes, let's put it below our audio options, equal new audio player, like so. Now let's give it a try and see if we can hear anything. And we do. The background music is playing. Beautiful. And let's go to our state class. We haven't been here for like 100 years. We're going to add public void set game state. So we have a lot of changing the game state from menu to playing, etc. Scattered all around our game or our project. But if we were to add music switches to each of those, it would take a long time and it would just be clutter. So we're going to take it all in this method only. So in here, we're going to change the game state. So we say game state. So let's just add a switch here for the state. And let's add some brackets. And actually not game state, but it's large as small. Yep. And in case we're going to menu, we are going to say game.getAudioPlayer.play song AudioPlayer.menu. And this is the reason why we have them as public static integers and not private integers, just so we can say AudioPlayer.menu1 and we will then play menu1. But if you're going to play, most likely from menu, we say game.getAudioPlayer.setLevelSong game.getPlaying.getLevelManager and .getLevelIndex we don't have, because the level index will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So we're going to use the level index. Let's go to our level manager. Levels, level manager. Because in our level manager we have an array list of levels and the level index depends on what level we are playing and updating, etc. So we just want a getter for this level index variable. So at the bottom, public int get level index, return level, wasn't it called? Was it level index? Level index. All right. And now we can go back to our state class. Get level index. So depending on what level index, we're gonna play a different song in our audio player. And of course, after we're done changing the music, we say GameState.state is equal to the new state. So we also change the state, not just start playing some music. And that is all what we need to do in our state method. So if we start the game now and go from our menu to our playing, we're not going to hear any difference because we haven't applied those changes to wherever we do change the GameState. So we can close that one down too. We can go to our menu to begin with. Wherever we change our menu to our playing, it's released here. Apply the game state. And if we do press the menu button, we're gonna change or apply the game state, which is going to be the menu. But we need a workaround because the menu button cannot access the state class. So right here, or rather in here, we're gonna add a getter as well. So public game state get state and return state. So this is just a workaround. If I'd known how we would do it today, then we would have done this a little bit different, but whatever. It's such a small thing anyways. So now in our menu, if menu button dot is, or rather get state equal to game state dot playing, we are going to say game dot get AudioPlayer dot set level song game dot get playing dot get level manager dot get level index. And this is a quick workaround because we changed the game state in the button itself and not out here. And in the button we can't reach state, but we can reach state in our menu because menu extend state. So if you try it now, we have a song switch. Let's go to our audio options right here, the one we did in the previous episode. Whenever we change a button or click a button, drag it, we're going to change the values in our audio player. Right here in our mouse drag, we want to change the volume, obviously. So first, we are going to get a float value before, which will be equal to volume button dot get float value. We don't have anything like that, right? No. So let's get over to our volume button right here. At the top, we need a private float value. And we're going to set it to, let's set it to 0, just right away. And where we change our X right here, we're going to create a method or call a method called UpdateVolume. And this float value will be depending on the position of the button X. So in here, we need a range. So float range is equal to the max X minus the min X. Pretty similar to what we did in our audio player for changing the value or changing the volume. Let's see here. We got the range from the maximum minus the minimum. Now we know how far the actual slider can move. And then we can get float value is equal to button X minus min X. So if the button X is at the very bottom, then value becomes 0. So float value is equal to value divided by range. So if value, not value, but float value, my bad. So float value is equal to value divided by the range. And if the value is, well, 0, then 0 divided by whatever this is, let's say 100, then we get 0. And if value is 100 and then divided by 100, we get 1, so full blast. And that is how we're gonna update the float value in our volume button. And before we leave here, we need a public float get float value. Return float value. Now we can close down this class. So volume button dot get float value before. Then we change the x, and then we get float value after is equal to volume button.getFloatValue. If value before is not equal to value after, meaning if there's a difference, then we call game.get. Don't we have game? Ah, we don't. We need to add it. Game private game game. This dot game equals game. All right. So game get AudioPlayer dot set volume value after. Yeah. So when we drag the mouse, we change the value if we have moved the button X. If it's the same, then we don't call this set volume because it's kind of heavy process of changing the value to changing the volume to everything. So that's why we check if it's the same before and after. And for our mouse released, we have music button. If we're trying to mute it, we add brackets here. And we say game.getAudioPlayer.toggle sound, or rather song mute. And for sound effects, it's the very same thing here. Game.getAudioPlayer.toggle effect mute. And I think that is all we need to do with our audio options. Let's give it a try. And that's my bad, it doesn't start because I forgot to add this for our audio options because we need to use the game. All right, let's give it a try now. All right, we have music. I could mute it. I can unmute it. And I get the jump sound effect whenever I unmute it. Unmute. And the volume changes too. Beautiful. And if you're wondering why the volume isn't changing very evenly, it's because it's not a linear change. It's like exponential change. So this little change here is much bigger than the change here, even though the movement is much bigger. So this tiny movement is more change than this. And there's a work around it, but nothing we're gonna get into in this episode. It's working, let's just leave it at that. So full blast. Beautiful. Let's lower it a little bit. And let's go to our playing. And of course I can do the same changes here. Wonderful. Now we more or less just need to go around to find every place where we want to add a sound. So let's add a sound for our game over screen and our level completed. So to our game over, it's player, right? Player sets game over, I think. So right here in our update, if the current health is 0, we set to dead, we have a death animation going on, and we're gonna add a effect here. Let's add it right away actually. Playing dot get game get audio player dot set, or rather play effect audio player dot die. So we have a death sound when the player dies. When the player is dead already, or the animation is over, we want to say not only game over, but we want to say game over. Do we have it? No, we don't, but we want to stop the song, and then we want to play effect, which will be audio player dot game over effect, the dun dun dun, you're dead kind of effect. And I think that is all in here, but we can do the attack animation or attack sound as well. So in our update attack box, no, not attack box, my bad. If we are attacking, check the attack. Here we're checking the attack if we're hitting an enemy, so we might as well play the attack sound. So play attack sound. And we should have one more. We should have for jumping. Jump, where is it? Jump, maybe. If we're in air, return in air through jump speed. Yeah, I think this is weird. Right before we do anything, we say get AudioPlayer play effect jump. Not that jump. It should be AudioPlayer jump. They are a bit different. But yeah. So when we do jump, we play the audio for jumping and we make sure that we're not in air so we don't hear the jump all the time whenever we are actually jumping. Alright, what else? Level completed. If we have completed the level, and I think that is in our playing. Let's go over there and see. We're updating here. Yeah, sure. Or could it be in the enemy manager maybe? Yeah, it is. So in our enemy manager, we are updating. If there are no enemies left, we are going to play the level completed sound. But let's not add it here. Let's go to playing where we say it's true. If level completed, then we say game.getAudioPlayer.play or level completed call, because yeah, stop song, play the level completed. Yeah, that's what we're gonna have to do. And now we need to go to our game over overlay, because we have some buttons here. Yes, when we press the escape key pressed, yeah, let's remove that. We shouldn't be able to go to our menu by pressing the escape key. We can remove that. But our mouse events here, so we release it and we are on the menu button. We say set or rather change, was it? What did we call it? It's oh right, it's in playing. This is not the state. So playing dot set game state dot menu. So that was this method right there. Yeah. But if we continue playing, we need to play the music again. So playing dot get game dot get audio player or level set level play level song playing dot get level manager get level index. So if we do want to play it again, we play the level song for that level, because when we die we stop all the music in the background. So if we want to play it again, we need to start the music once again. So that's our game overlay. Let's go to our level completed overlay. If we want to go back to the menu, then playing dot change or set game state dot menu. If we want to play again or play the next level, we're going to do the same there. So playing dot get game get audio player get or rather play, wasn't it? Set level song, my bad. Playing dot get level manager get level index. So we change the song also if we move to the next level. Beautiful. Do we have anything else? Menu, pause, overlay. No, I think it's working correctly. Let's give it a try and see what happens if we have everything we need. All right, let's see if we can change the volume a little bit. That's good. Mutes work. There is some latency or delay from the moment I press and release. And that is a drawback of using clip this way, but it doesn't really matter too much when it comes to the music, but it's worse if the effects don't work as they should or there's delay for the effects. So let's give it a try. Alright, new song since we've changed level. I have jumping sound. I have different types of attack sounds, which are really good. Let's see death, or hear death. I died, and there was a game over. Beautiful. Let's rage quit. Menu. Let's go back. Let's die. Let's try it again. Yeah. And let's complete the level. Let's go to the next level. And a new music is playing. And let's go back to the menu. We have a fully functioning sound system in our game. How about that? Whoosh, that was a heavy episode, but it's finished now. We got our music in the background and also a few sound effects. I cannot say this enough, sounds in a game can be quite difficult to get working well. Not only do you have to think about the file format of the files, but also the size and a lot of different parameters that we did not cover in this episode. Having loads of music and effects in a game is awesome, but the size of the game quickly grows with each new sound added. And I am by no means an expert in this topic. I wanted to show you a sneak peek of working with sounds. If you were to add sounds in your own game, I would recommend you looking up an external library that have all the code figured out, and then you thank them kindly for doing all that work for you, because it can be very technical and difficult to get working well. There are plenty of different libraries out there. Find one that works best for you and your game. Now, I'm off to bed or maybe the gym. It kinda depends on when this episode gets uploaded. Anyway, I hope that you learned something today. And if you did, hit that subscribe button and also like the video. Until the next episode, folks, take care now and have a wonderful day. Cheers.